Fellow Zimbabweans, many a times it appears like people do not understand what exactly is it that needs to be done. In the Zimbabwean context, we need to change the system of politics and politicking that is taking place within the country of Zimbabwe. It is our view as the Liberal Democrats that none of the political parties that we have on the menu obviously, has got proper policies and has an agenda to change, the political system that is in Zimbabwe to ensure that anyone that comes, into power or into government is going to ensure that there is constitutionalism and they're going to behave in a manner that shows proper governance. Now, it is a language that is used by each and every political party that it always blames the other political party that this political party does not have appropriate, systems and does not have proper governance, means it does not promise to deliver what exactly is required by the country. We know that a lot of people, when they come into politics, they promise to deliver this and that. They tell you about jobs. We're going to give so many jobs. I'm not sure how they quantify the number of jobs that they will actually, be providing to the people, because they don't know how many industries are going to be, opened, how many are going to be closed down. I'm just not sure how they calculate the number of jobs that they are going to probably provide to the people. But the Liberal Democrats, as they come into this political fray, there is one thing that they are promising, and what they are promising is that they are going to ensure that Zimbabwe is a constitutional country, a constitutional democracy, where, for example, there is the trias politica, which means that the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary are all operating at point, on the same level, which in the majority of the cases means that, the executive is not going to encroach on the space of the judiciary, neither judiciary on the space of the executive nor the legislature. Now, why is that important? That is very important because it ensures that these three organs of state are going to balance each other. They're not organs of government, they're organs of state. Now, the state is not government. The state is not a political party. The state is always going to be static. It stays there. Governments come and go. Political parties come and go. But the state remains there. And it must have institutions that are properly governed. We cannot have a situation, for example, where we have the president, unilaterally appointing the judiciary so that the judiciary serves at the best, at the interest or to the pleasure of the president or the executive. Now, what that means is that you ultimately have a banana republic or a republic where one person controls everything else. When you look at members of parliament, what we normally call our legislature, the majority of them, you'll realize that they belong to a particular political party, which means in essence, if the president becomes the head of that political party, who controls the political party, it means the members of parliament are also going to be controlled by the president, because he actually whips them into shape from the party level up until, at government level. Now, once you have given the same head of state or the same executive the power to control the judiciary, then it means the whole country is run by one man. And that is exactly what is happening in the country of Zimbabwe. Everybody else dances to the tune of whoever is the president. Unfortunately, it is heartbreaking to actually say when the constitution, the new constitution of 2013 was actually crafted, and which is what we have now, it did not cut down or limit the powers of the president. Today, the president still sits on top and has got a lot of powers, and that is why when you look at the appointment of judiciary, you realize that the president does, nominate as well. After nominating, he can refuse to appoint without any valid reason. So, in any effect, it means he can simply say, I don't want to appoint this people because he did not nominate, did not shortlist the person that I nominated. Now, what that means in essence is that we still play, we're still dithering on the same place, doing one and the same thing, instead of changing the political system and ensuring that it works for the benefit of every Zimbabwean. It still works for those that are in power. And the Liberal Democrats therefore say, we don't want things to work for those that are in power, in fact, or that are in government. In fact, we are saying that those that are in government are the servants of the people, and they cannot be seen to be living a cushy and very happy, plushy life, whilst, everybody else in the country is suffering. As the Liberal Democrats, it is our proposition that government expenditure must be cut down. How do we propose to do that? Number one, the cabinet must be cut to a very small size. And our proposal is that, it must have less than 20, ministries, for example. We have got countries as big as the United States with about over 300 million people, but they manage with very small cabinets. So to cut down, we're going to make sure that there's a small cabinet. Number two, we're going to ensure that members of the cabinet, members of parliament, are not going to be bought any cars. Any cars, that are going to be bought by government will remain government property, which means that they use them and bring them back. There is a logbook that shows who has used what, and if there is any recklessness, it means that person will have to repair that. Otherwise, they might as well just buy their own cars like any other ordinary Zimbabwean. That is exactly what we are proposing. So we are basically saying that, no cars that are given to people as packs. Number three, we're actually talking about lifestyle audits. As you come and you sign your contract with government, you are sworn into office, we need your lifestyle to be audited to see what it is that you have. And what it means that we're going to have, the Auditor General's office, which is going to be a very neutral, body, organ of state, which is probably going to work along with Chapter 12 institution, which is going to ensure that, your family members are all known to the government, they are declared, so that in the event that any one of your family members or relatives accumulates more wealth than it is normal, we need to investigate that person, that how did that come so, because we know that people tend to give and a lot of the wealth that they steal to some distant relatives. So we are going to continue with the lifestyle audit, and we're going to make sure that ministers, members of parliament are going to be accountable to the people that elected them. They will have to go back and meet the people and listen to what people say, and if people are not happy, we need them to actually speak out, and we need these people to show projects that they have undertaken and to show how far these projects have gone. We don't want just people to go and promise people that this is what we're going to do and not go back to deliver. So when people are elected, politicians are elected on promises. So we want to make sure that the public, the electorate is going to hold politicians to account in terms of the promises that they make. These are but just a few of some of these issues, but more so we are saying that before we get to the rights of everybody else, we need to start with each individual's rights. Every individual matters. No person should be looked down upon. So every person, young and old, must have their rights respected, because these are enshrined in the Bill of Rights and they must be protected. And the judiciary must operate independently or function independently. We need a functional democracy, not the facade that we have. So, fellow Zimbabweans, this is what the Liberal Democrats in brief offers you. But we want to say to you, as we alluded earlier on, that you can find a lot of information about what the Liberal Democrats hopes to achieve at www.liberaldemocratszim.org. There's a lot of information about our policies, about the roadmap, about our values, about our principles, our manifesto and so forth. And thank you for listening. We hope that you'll find this quite helpful, because one of the things that is on the top of agenda is civic education. We want to work with non-governmental organizations to educate people to know that citizenship has got to be exercised with a lot of care and with a lot of due diligence, in the sense that once you're a citizen, you have a responsibility to ensure that you are properly governed, and you cannot allow resources to be stolen from you, because everybody pays taxes, and therefore no one can squander that money willy-nilly. Thank you.